Good day, guys, and welcome to Health, Wealth, and Happiness.
I'm James.
I'm Joe, and welcome to the show. Today's guest is Dr. Robb Kelly, CEO of the Robb Kelly Recovery Group. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to let Robb introduce himself and tell his story. So, Robb, how are you?
Hey guys, doing great. Great to be with you. James and Joe, it's amazing. My name is Dr. Robb Kelly. You can call me the addiction doctor, or the Gordon Ramsay of the addiction world, whichever one you believe. But yeah, I'm an addiction doctor. I'm also a TV doctor. I'm an author, and I spend most of my time just working with alcoholics and addicts, but not just on the disease of alcoholics and addiction. It's about building families. It's about getting your life back. It's about building wealth. It's about getting fit again. It's all the stuff that other people miss out. So I specialize in neuroscience, neuroplasticity, and brain science is what I use for addiction and alcoholism, but also to get these guys to the place where they want to be. Because I know when I got sober, I didn't want to be in the one-bedroom apartment just keeping sober and do what I'm doing. I wanted $1 million house. I wanted to drive a McLaren Mercedes. I wanted a wife and 4 English bulldogs, and I wanted to never have to worry about money again. And today, that's where I am. And the only way I got that way is to make sure that I got my mind right. I went in and I claimed it.
So tell us then, Robb, where did it all start for you? Then obviously, Robb Kelly Group is fantastic. It's scaled beyond belief. But where did this all start for you? Where did it all begin?
It began with my disease. I'm an alcoholic, not so much an addict, but an alcoholic. And I was thrown on stage early. Our musical family, I was a bass player, and I was thrown on stage at the age of 9 playing. And I was a very nervous kid, so they gave me alcohol to calm me down. And that's where it started. And the alcohol, over the years, I ended up at Abbey Road. I played at Abbey Road for 6 years, Bowie and Queen and all them guys, heavily into drugs and alcohol. But I lost everything. I lost my big house and cars and kids and wife and holiday home and parents, and ended up homeless. I was actually homeless, living on streets in cardboard boxes and bus shelters for a year, and then in the centre of Manchester, Piccadilly Gardens. And I swore then, because 3% of people get off the streets where I come from, 97% who live on the streets die on the streets. And I saw death on a daily basis. And I died 4 times myself on the streets. They brought me back to life. But I swore to myself, and I have a God in my life, which is awesome, that if I ever got off the street, I'd spend the rest of my life working with people just like me to make sure that they never go down to the place I went. But not only that, like I say before, if you're going to get sober and clean, guys, let's build a life beyond your wildest dreams. You know, I literally take people who have dropped down from where they used to be. I take them to the Porsche dealership. I take them to the $1 million house, and I sit them in there. And I take them to fancy restaurants, and I get the mindset to, once you get there, because you will get there, that when you get there for the first time, it's not all crazy and wow, I don't belong here. Yeah, of course you belong there. You know, anybody can achieve anything. I get them to write $1 million, $2 million checks, and we pin it on the wall, and we give them a time frame. And 93% of the time, we're talking about 5,500 patients here, 93% of the time they cash that check in the time period that they want to do, because there's nothing you can't do. The brain is absolutely an unbelievable muscle, and we only use a percentage of it. I look at it like this. You know, quantum physics tells me, let's say a basketball court. Quantum physics tells me I can be up to 25 places on that court at any one time. It's a science, it's true, it's real. So I want to visualize myself over near the goal, because I want to pop it in the basket and be the hero. So I visualize myself. How do I take that position? I walk over and take it. I don't interview. I don't ask anybody. I walk over and take that position. And with that mentality and that confidence, it's impossible to fail.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
okay. But okay.
Yeah, there's usually a silence after I come out with that one.
Yeah.
People are usually, first of all, wow, and secondly, oh my God, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you get from being on the streets to that switch going and the mindset shift?
I had a breakdown on the streets 2:30 Sunday morning after about 13 months. It was pouring down with rain. I had no shoes on my feet. Somebody stole it the night before when I was unconscious through alcohol. And I dropped down to my hands and knees and I started crying from my belly. I wasn't crying because I'd lost my kids and my wife and my money and all that stuff. I was crying because the first time in my life I realized that I couldn't stop drinking. And it took all that. And I looked up to the sky and I said, if there's a God up there, I can't do this on my own anymore. And I swear that about 30 seconds later, a guy walked around the corner with a little Bible in his hand, 2:30 in the morning. He'd missed his last bus home and he just walked 4 hours trying to get home. And he come across me. He helped me. I moved into his house and my journey started from there. And it's progressed every single month, year. I mean, it's got better and better and better. But with me, it's like anything else. I used to be like a professional bodybuilder. I was a professional musician. You know, I'm now a doctor. I take things to the excess. It's like I have a pretty good idea what we can achieve when we put our mind to it. I mean, look at you, Joe, with the weight loss. Look at James and how he inspires and does what he's doing. We all find our little niche that we get. And if you really concentrate on that and put all our brain power into that, then anything is possible. And I truly believe that there's nothing I can't do. Nothing I can't do.
You said, I saw the video on YouTube of yours and I thought it was amazing, by the way. And you were saying it's not addiction that's the issue, it's the mindset, it's your perspective. And it's fixing that first around this subject that enables you to grow.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, alcoholism and addiction is a brain disease. It's got very little to do with alcohol and very little to do with drugs. I have a self-sabotaging mind. I have neural pathways that self-sabotage, and I'm born with this way. So I love to show people this. Just check this out a minute. So this is my neural pathway that's self-sabotaging. I'm born with this. There are billions in the head, but let's just take a couple. So every time something happens, I want to self-destruct. I want to drink alcohol, take drugs, and get wasted. These are the new ones we're building off. These are the self-help, get to the gym, build a life, become a millionaire. And what happens when we start my program, it's like this. And once we get into the mind and start telling them, it kind of does this. So like this successful neural pathway is the knee-jerk neural pathway that I'm going to take every time. And I say this to people and they get it. I say, hey, listen, if we could swap places for 5 minutes, you could see me, I could see you, all your problems will be over in 5 minutes. Because we never see who we are. We never see the potential that we have that other people see. You know, I thought for a long time that people didn't like me, you know, in business and stuff like that. Not only people would speak to me. I found out they were scared of my success and they were intimidated by me. I didn't know that. I was shocked when I heard that. But when you take that power on board and you go, you know something, I'm going to use this in the right way. Because even though I find myself today, I love myself today, I'm powerful, I am a little bit intimidating, I'm loud, I'm in your face, but you know something? 80% of my work is pro bono. And last year alone, we put $250,000 back into the community, helping people who were suffering, not only with alcohol and drugs, but with depression, with mental illness, with bipolar, and people that just wanted to better themselves.
Love it. Love it. I mean, for you then, Rob, obviously it seems like, obviously I'd love to know a little bit more about this, but the whole recovery side of things, that's one thing, but you go another level in after the recovery, you're going to take them out into the real world. So you're consulting them as well, almost like life coaching, I guess. Is that?
It is, yeah, it is exactly that, you know, and we teach them to succeed in life. You know, what we do is we take you to a different level of life. We take you to another thought pattern of life. We put families back together. We reunite mums and dads with kids. All this great stuff away from it. The alcohol's a given. If you relapse after doing my program, I'll give you my house and my cars. I'm that confident. What else can we do? I mean, but nobody does that, by the way. Money back guarantee. I'll give money back if you relapse, because I train the brain that good that being sober and clean isn't good enough. It isn't good enough. What else can we do? You know, that CEO position that you dreamed of one day, stop dreaming and living and start living the dream. Why can't you have that job? Well, of course you can, because he's no better than you. And the more you climb up that ladder, the little you have to know and the less you have to do. So focus on it and make sure that you get there. And we track the milestones through. So I want to be a millionaire in 2 years for one client. And that's what we did. We tracked them years. And by the time 18 months come, he cashed $1 million check to himself. Anything's possible. I've never failed yet. I don't know why.
This is something what I picked up on as well. You describe yourself as a recovered alcoholic. Okay. Yes. And I've never heard that before. I've only ever heard the phrase recovering alcoholic.
Yes.
Okay. So is there a difference? And with what you just said as well, do you believe you can overcome this for good, or is it a constant battle that you still have with yourself?
Well, it's not a battle today, which is good. But a recovered alcoholic means that I've gained one's health and state of mind back. Now, I'll always be an alcoholic because I've put it in my system. It all goes to crap. So I have to be careful. But I've recovered from the mind and the body. So I've gained my mind back. So I'm not insane anymore, and I've gained the body back. And this is how I come to that conclusion. I'm outside a liquor store or off license, 6 o'clock in the morning. The Pakistani guy loved him to bit. Opened the newspaper shop. He sold alcohol, but he couldn't sell it till 10. He gave it to me at 6. I walked in. I'm shivering. I'm shaking. I'm going into DTs. I got a pair of shorts on, flip-flops, and a T-shirt. It's like 6 below. The snow on the ground. And I walked in sweating. And he put the bottle on the counter. And this is what I did. I went, and my whole being just went so much at peace. And I looked at the bottle and I thought to myself, oh my God, it's not the alcohol. It's me. So yeah, I've recovered from a hopeless state of mind and body. There's 2 different words, recovered and cured. Both different completely words. I say to people, buy a dictionary and find out. Food poisoning, there's no cure for food poisoning. But I had food poisoning once, but now I've recovered from food poisoning. And when I went to the doctors to say, hey, I've got food poisoning, he gave me a few simple steps to make sure that I never get food poisoning again. And that was, don't refreeze stuff you've already frozen. Check the dates on your meat. I've never had food poisoning since that day. It's the same with alcoholism. I take a few simple steps today to make sure that I don't get alcoholism again. I don't want it back, but I know it's a daily reprieve. You see this guy here, guys? This is the alcoholic in me. This is the guy that's going to sleep with your wife or your girlfriend, steal your car, steal money off you, act like an idiot, and probably die. This is the guy every day. This over here is my work, my morning work, working with people, inspiring people, and do what I do for a living. And I walk out the door like this. This guy here is going to have an amazing day, and he's going to help people and going to love people. But have a guess who's waking him up tomorrow morning? It's this guy. And that's what they mean by always an alcoholic, because this guy is always going to be there, but it isn't a fight today. It's just a routine.
You said about reconstructing your mind. You've got to reconstruct your mind. How do you do this? Like NLP, Neurolinguistic Programming, or what is it that you do to enable them to turn this around?
It's a mixture of Neurolinguistic Programming, you're right, NLP, and just the psyche, just knowing how the mind and the brain works. Repetition strengthens and confirms, and words are very powerful. So we had a patient once that left the office and was driving home, and my assistant come in and she says, oh my God, John B, because we only use first names, his father's just died in a car accident. So I'm like, oh my God, let me call him up. So I called him up and I said, look, I'm sorry, John. Your father, I don't know why they called the office, but your father's died. And he was sobbing into the phone. He said, Rob, I can't drive. I'm shaking like crazy. It was just a mess. I said, look, I've got a patient. Let me call you back in 20 minutes. And as soon as I put the phone down, my assistant came in. He says, oh my God, we've got the wrong John. It's John L, not John B. So I said, you call John L, I'll call John B back. And I called him back and I explained and everything. But, and here's the but, they were only words over a phone. Yet his body reacted in such a way that he had no control over it. Can you imagine what we can do with good words if bad words do that? So if we tell someone every day that you are amazing, you can do this. We had an instance where we had a guy and all he wanted to do, he had no alcohol, drug problems. He could not meet women. He tried, he was too nervous. He'd start shaking. So what I did is we took him on board, and I have a friend of mine who owns a bar, an Irish bar. So what we did one night, we went in there on a normal night, and I planted 20 girls around who were kind of friends or, and we paid them to be there, $100 each. We sat them all around, and I took him in, and he was all nervous. And I said, pick a girl that would be your dream date. And he picked one of these blondes. And we walked over, and we sat down, and he was so nervous, guys. He was just, but slowly but surely, they started a conversation. Then I left. Them two were getting on great. He never knew that we planted there, but he dated about 12 women after that, and today he's married. It's all about this. If you believe something's happening, I keep telling you often enough. You see, I might tell you a lie and you go, oh, I might believe it, I might not. If I tell you often enough, you're going to start believing that lie. But if I tell you real often enough, I'm going to start to believe it. Because the most powerful people in the world is pathological liars. Because once you start believing it yourself, everyone will start to believe it because you're that convincing. And that's the key to life today. It's like if I walk in a room with 12 people, say, and I have a frown on my face, probably 10 are going to frown back at me. If I walk in 10 minutes later, the same people that smile on my face, most people are going to smile back. So what I give out, I get back. And nobody, well, very few people know this about the brain, is you can have, and I don't have bad days. I have better days than others. I don't have bad days. It's like, what can I do for my fellow human being? How can I inspire that person? You know, whatever it takes, I will go to. Whatever it takes. I have a plane. If you're suffering in Manchester, England, I'll fly over there and get you. Slap you, put you on the plane, bring you back. I can do anything to get that person to the right place because I love stories. You know, I don't get involved in the money side of my business. What I get involved is when the mom and dads call me or the husband and wife calls me and say, Dr. Kelly, I don't know what you've done, but it's an absolute miracle. And she's crying and she's just sobbing and telling me thank you. I always take it.
Yeah. I guess like people like yourself who have, you know, like when you're running a business for something that you've overcome yourself, there's so much more meaning to it. There's so much fulfillment in what you do. That's the reason why you do that. And it's clear to see, you can see that. And I think it's the same with me and Joe. It's like we're nutters for what we do. And that's why we turn up every day. Not because of the business model or anything else, because we love what we do. I think that's huge. And you can see that with yourself for sure.
Yeah, passion's infectious.
Yeah. We have a saying over here. So we love what we do because we do what we love. And I think once you do that, the money will come. Everything will come. Money's nothing. I mean, you know, I was homeless once. How'd that happen? It's not humanly possible to do what I did if you think about it. You know, it's like I had the respect of so many people. Doctors from the Priory just thinking I'm just amazing at what I do. I am. I'm the best in the world at what I do. That's how confident I am. And it's not ego or, you know, a boasting. It's not. You can't boast when you take the kids off you and they put you on the streets. You know, this is what I've done. And if I can do it, so can you. And it's really that simple.
But how did you get into it then? So from musician days and then the bodybuilding and then obviously the dark times you went through.
I think it was the dark times. I think that, well, first of all, if you look back the musician thing, you know, you had to have a certain amount of, you know, commitment to it. The bodybuilding, oh my God, you had to be so much into it because of the dieting, the training and stuff like that. So my mindset was always strong, but when alcohol took over, it destroyed my mindset and I couldn't stop it. See, everything I touched before I was homeless turned to gold. You know, I'd do everything to the best of my ability and I would succeed. But with alcoholism, I couldn't do it. And it kept knocking me on my ass every time. So that it was the intrigueness of it. It was like, why can't I do this? So when I started studying the brain, I found that.
So how did you get to that? But again, how did you get to that point? Because obviously drinking alcohol, James will know this more than anybody as well, but drinking alcohol and bodybuilding doesn't go very well together. So
no, I used to have to take times when I would not drink at all. You know, like a month before the competition when I would just be completely low carbs, you know, literally just loads of water. And then a week before I'd cut back on the water. And then on the day of or the day before, and make sure I drank zero water to make sure everything was good. So I would pack up, but as soon as I come off stage, like I won the Northwest Championship, when I come off stage, there was a pint of vodka there for me, and I drank that down in one because I've been craving it for so long. But I put my mind, I have the addicted brain, guys. I have the addicted brain. And I'm telling you now, you too have the addicted brain, but you're not alcoholic because you're brilliant at what you do.
So this
I'd say we are.
I want to ask you about as well about that. So again, so people say that I've got an addictive personality or I've got addictive traits. Is that a real thing, or is it just something that we tell ourselves?
No, it's a real thing. You're born with the addictive brain. You'll find out. If you have the addictive brain, that means, you know, most of the CEOs and multi-billion-dollar companies or multi-million, they're CEOs that have the addictive brain, but they don't have an alcohol problem. So there's the addicted smart brain that you can be born with. But if you have the alcoholic gene in that brain, self-sabotaging your pathways, you will have problems. Now, I know hundreds of people who are alcoholic and have the alcoholic brain, but they've never drank alcohol.
Yeah.
So they don't suffer from it, but they create amazing stuff and succeed where other people haven't succeeded. A friend of mine, Gordon Ramsay, he said to me one day, he said, do you know I am the best chef in the world? We're sat in his house and we're just messing around. He said, do you know I am the best chef in the world? And I said, I don't know, because you can cook pretty good. And he went, hell effing no, because I tell everybody I am. And I thought, mind blow. So I started telling everyone I'm the best addictionologist in the world. I'm the best addiction doctor. And people are going, yeah, you are, yeah. But I got that off Ramsay. It was just like, I was calling him a cook and it drives him crazy. I got him to call Janet, my wife, one day because she adores him. And I said to her, I asked him what he's cooking today. I don't cook. I'm a chef. We had dinner at his house once, and I put salt on the meal, and he slapped me across the face. And I've never put salt on a meal ever since. Don't you dare put salt on my meal without tasting it. I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. Crazy guys.
So talking of addiction then, so is it nature or nurture?
Both. I think both. Definitely both. There's a problem with the mental health system that won't regard an addiction, and that is we don't know enough about it, or they don't know enough about it. See, I studied the brain, and that's all I've studied regarding addiction. So there's a lack of knowledge out there when it comes to alcoholism, and there's still a stigma attached to it. So what we do here is, like, I can tell you guys, because I got told off my guys that I can mention names when dealing with other guys who are interested. Robert Downey Jr., he was one of my guys. Eminem was my guy. Eddie Van Halen was my guy. In fact, we were sat in my ranch 6-7 weeks into Robbie Downey Jr. His treatment. We picked him up from jail. He was actually in an orange jumpsuit when we picked him up with jail across the back of it or something. And he actually opened the script to Iron Man in my house. And we've been telling for about 8 or 9 weeks that you're going to be the biggest actor in the world, the biggest box office star ever born. You know, and he started to believe it, and then it happens. Simple as that.
Incredible.
You
think, therefore you are. I love it. But
yeah,
how the hell did you get him in a taxi after coming out of jail?
I know, it was, well, the judge said to me, Dr. Kelly, I'm going to put him in your care, and if he goes missing, I'm going to come after you. I'm like, whoa, we don't want to take that thing. So we went outside and we had a little meeting about it, and then we went back in, and we had a bodyguard with us. My bodyguard clipped the handcuffs on him. And he says that you can't do that. You're not a police officer. It isn't legal. And he said, no, but I'll knock you out. That's legal. So be quiet and follow us. And we had to get him on the private jet over to Dallas and then helicopter him from there into the ranch. But yeah, he was, all the guys we've had over there are just nice guys who are just lost, you know.
It's a hell of a story, that is. I mean, like, if I look at myself, I can see I've got tendencies of probably like addictive personality to progression. Like, I just chase progression in all formats. And I guess like it's channeling your addiction, I guess. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah.
Is that what you need to do? Channel it into something positive?
Yeah. And don't forget, self-dialogue is the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
So if you're the best trainer in the world, best dietitian, best whatever you do in the world, and you're the best financial guy in the world, you'll start to believe that. But more importantly, other people start to believe it, and then they start pushing, you know, because everyone's unsure. Yeah. See, what a lot of people do is they make practical decisions based on fear. Fear is not going to get us anywhere. Fear is going to stop us doing it. I signed an office lease in Dallas about 4 years ago for $1 million, and people were freaking out around me. My financial advisor was like, "You crazy over a 10-year period?" I'm like, "What's the worst can happen? They take the office back. I mean, what? What's the worst can happen? They might sue you. What for? What? I don't. What's the panic? You see, from living on the streets, all my fear's gone. You know, I face fear in the front. I laugh at fear. You know, I go, "Are you joking?" You know, it just doesn't exist for me. And I think kids are like that. Kids have no fear, but somewhere along the line, the fear's put into them. And people come to me to say, and I say, "How do you feel?" "I'm not good enough. I can't do anything." You know, and I say, "Look, I'm sorry, but somebody's put that there in your head for you to believe." Because let me tell you something, guys. I know today for a fact that I'm never going to be blonde enough, thin enough, rich enough, or tall enough. And that's just the way it is. And once I accepted them facts for me, see how far I can push myself. I've been dieting and training most of my life. I'm nearly 60 now. I'll be 60 next year. And about 2 years ago, I decided to ease off. I put about 40 pounds on, you know, but I've done all my time. And I started to get horrible and I look in the mirror and start complaining to my wife. And my wife said these words to me. She said, "Rob, stop trying to build a body that trying to impress somebody. Why don't you just love what you've got?" And that changed the whole game for me. It's like, I'm not the guy I used to be, but I am the guy I am today. And I think I'm a lot better off for it.
You're a lot more at peace with yourself when you come to acceptance, aren't you? You get so much more done, don't you?
Yeah, because I used to have that internal dialogue, and still do to a certain extent, where I'm never good enough. I question things. You know, when I finish this interview, when you send it me, if you do, I'll go over it again, make sure that what I said was good. Did I say anything? Wasn't? Because that's just the brain I have, you know. But like you said before, though, James, you can channel that. Because if you're going to do something, why not be the best in the world at it? I have a guy in Manchester. Well, he died now, but he was a doorman. He had no education, nothing, and he started dealing with the financial world. And I trained him to be the best, telling me the best in the world. He was dealing with like multi-million-dollar Arab guys when he came over, looking after their account. He became a hedge fund manager because he kept telling people, I don't take any portfolios on unless it's over $1 million. And he had no clients. And people go, oh my God, this is so impressive when they start. And he was great at what he did. Great at what he did, but you have to have self-belief.
I think that's it. We're sort of conditioned, aren't we? I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5, but I mean, we're conditioned, aren't we? Go university, 9 to 5, you know, all this, and we're sort of like anything outside of that. Oh, you're out your comfort zone. You're in that fear zone. I mean, I can relate to that. You know, when I set up my business, I was shitting bricks before I went into it. I was like, oh, am I right? I'm making the right decision. Looking back now, I was like, I'm so bloody lucky I went and did it. Like, but you got to take a leap, haven't you? You got to get out of that comfort zone.
Yeah. You do, because I was supposed to, my dad worked for the gas board. I was supposed to leave school, join the gas board with my dad, work there, get married, have a couple of kids, go down the pub every Friday, Saturday night and drink. And then, you know, that was my life planned out. And somewhere along the line, you know, I said, no, I don't want to live on a council estate. And I don't want to just earn like $600 a week. I don't want it. I mean, I just don't want it. And then when I was at my peak in Dallas about 4 or 5 years ago, because I kind of semi-retired now, I'm doing $140,000 a month is what I was doing. $600 a week? No, I don't want that. I want to see how far I can push this. But I found, like you guys, I found my niche. I found what I'm good at. You know, I've been in America for 12 years. I don't know how long. I've never picked a basketball up yet. Why? Because I know I'm not good at it. Why should I do that? I'm not going to make a fool of myself. I'm either brilliant at something or don't touch it. I can do 2 things in life. I can manipulate the brain and I can play guitar. Everything else I can't do. I can't paint a house or a wall. But if my car ever breaks down, God forbid, I won't know how to fix that. Your battery's flat. Where the freaking hell's the battery? I don't know where the battery is. You know, normal guy stuff. I don't know that stuff. But I know what I know. And that's enough for me. I have guys, other people around me to do that.
Joe, that sounds like you, mate. It sounds like you told me that before. I swear you told me that before. You're like,
do what you're good at. Do what you're good at. So do you think that the education system is lacking in that respect?
Yes, without a doubt. Yeah. Well, nobody wants to touch it. No, the people that have come out or the people that have stood up have all been shot down. Careers have been ruined. You know, I mean, there's only a few people that come out who have made it and say, yeah, I suffer from this and we need to be educated on it. Nobody wants to touch it because the biggest thing is nobody can diagnose. It's the only self-diagnosed illness in the world. So nobody can diagnose it and nobody can cure it. And do you know what that is, Joe? It means there's no money in it. There's no money in recovery. So let's stick a few halfway houses up, stick a few treatment centers up where you can go there 10 or 20 times in a row and everything will be okay. And I'm asking treatment centers, we have a thing over here. I hate treatment centers. They hate me. Why? Because I get people well. And they're taking little Johnny in for his 7th time, you know, in 2 years and still charging him full price. And I'm like, it's a joke, guys. Get to know the illness. Get to know the full potential. Look, my first wife still calls me a useless, alcoholic drunk who will never achieve anything. She still calls me that today. And yet look at me, you know? It's unbelievable.
You were saying, I was watching video that you on YouTube earlier, and you were saying that the way to get around it is bring them in and controlling the addiction, actually providing it them. You're saying about the heroin side of things. Can you talk through that, just so I don't say the wrong thing here?
So I mean, heroin addiction and alcohol are kind of the same, even though alcohol acts a little bit different on the brain. But you have to control the disease. And how I do that is I shock the disease out of you when you first come in. So we bring you into the office. I will play mind games with you, especially if it's a kid whose mum and dad's brought in. And I'll say to them, like, you know, they might be on ecstasy or something. And I'll say to them, look, this is the last day. You start tomorrow. I have a couple of ecstasy pills in my drawer from a previous client. What if we both take one now, get it out of our system, we can start tomorrow? If he says yes, I call his mum and daddy and I say, get the hell out of my office, he's not ready. Because you have to be ready so you can control the disease. And I shock it by cursing, and I will scream at you, you know, and I have handcuffed people and thrown them in trunks, the boot of my car, and took them to my office. And I'll do whatever it takes, because you have to know and control the disease because the thing is it doesn't play by the rules. Addiction doesn't play by the rules. So if you're going to treat it, and this is where I'm different to other people, you can't play by the rules.
Right.
That's why the psychology board freak out, because I will do whatever. I only take on 4 patients at any one time. And people say, well, you could be taking 50 and be billionaire. I don't want to be a billionaire. I take on 4 because then 4 patients over a 3-month period is all I concentrate on. You get 100% of my time, because if I don't, the disease will take over, and then we've lost you.
So you're saying there isn't a blueprint, there isn't a step-by-step system to it. You've got to know what to do, when to do it in any given situation. It's like, it's live, it's raw. It's you don't know how to. Okay, and obviously you're just going to know what to do with experience in time, aren't you? You're just going to know what. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, it's like when you come in and sit in front of me, you have to have an assessment first. I can tell with the first 20, 30 seconds if you're in or out. It's like when I do podcasts or interviews or TV. When I do the doctors, and like 7 million viewers, they come in with all this script and everything. I don't want a script. Yeah, but you need to talk and get involved. I get involved. Don't you worry. I don't need the script for life. Just throw it at me. Throw it in my role. I've got to suss the situation out there and then, and I can always react pretty good to it. It's the same with the patient. Each individual patient has each individual program, because we don't know how ripe your disease is.
Yeah.
So what's the answer then with education, with children? So you said that some people have this trait. Can you spot it early on, and is there a way to stop it ever evolving?
The first thing that you look for is hereditary. Is it in my family genes? And if it's not in your family genes, it's very unlikely you're going to suffer from addiction or alcohol and drug addiction. You may suffer from gym addiction and all that. They're good addictions, but the bad ones. Apart from that, we're looking at the early stages. You've got to look at the behavior. You've got to look at the isolation. You've got to look at the kid that doesn't get on well with everyone else at school, the guy that doesn't fit in at all. They're the guys you got to watch. The main thing is hereditary. If you have it in your bloodline, it might skip a generation. There's a big chance you're going to get it, and it may not show until you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. It's amazing how long the addiction may last without raising its ugly head. But somewhere across the line, or somewhere across time, you're going to cross that line where there's no coming back from.
You think it's related to environment as well, the environment you're in, and
100%.
Yeah, and you've got to control 100%. That moving forward, or you've got to shape your environment and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, as an adult, you can shape it, but what you have to do is you have to go back to the scene of the crime, as we say, to your childhood stuff and all that abuse started verbal. We are a great believer here that anything less than nurturing as a child is child abuse. So if you're telling your child off, or slapping them, or telling them to waste of time, or you can't do that, or you're never good enough, that's the stuff that our subconscious brain takes on board. And later on in life, that subconscious brain, when you're making a decision for your life, like, should I start this business? Your subconscious brain is going to know you're not good enough. That internal dialogue is going to start. And we just spoke about powerful words. Where if you have that upbringing where your parents are always encouraging you to do stuff, you're going to be successful. They're the guys at Oxford and Cambridge. They're the guys that have started businesses from scratch. That's the guy that started Amazon. His parents kept telling him he was amazing. He was fantastic. I've seen that picture of Jeff. He's got an office that's broken down. He's got a white piece of linen behind him, and he's got Amazon sprayed on it. But his parents said he was good and he could do it. Look at him now.
It's in the back of his garage or something, isn't it?
It was, yeah, back of his garage. He was just selling books. We sent a couple of old books on, it's like crazy.
Okay, so on that note then, so if it's hereditary and it's going through generations, how do you break that mold? So if you know that it's hereditary and it's in your family, how do you buck the trend completely?
You have to manipulate the neural pathways, the self-sabotaging neural pathways with good neural pathways, and watching how the brain changes and following up and a daily routine that will keep that addicted brain from self-sabotaging. So it's repetition, strengthening, and confirms. So if you go and see a normal counselor already, you see him once a week, once a month. But in our program, it has to be a daily thing for 90 days. 90 days, over a 90-day period, chemicals will change in your brain, become stable. If you're changing neural pathways, and I'm telling you every single day in layman's terms that you're amazing, you can do this, and alcohol is just the symptom, it's not the problem, then you're going to start to believe it and you go forward. See, I look at chickenpox. When I had chickenpox once, someone said, "Hey, Rob, you got chickenpox, man." I said, "How do you know?" He said, "I can see the spots all over you." I said, "Well, actually, that's the symptom. What I actually have is a viral infection that you can't see." And it's the same with alcoholism. The bottles and the liquor are the symptom. What I actually have is a brain defect. The hypothalamus at the back of the brain we talked about, that tells me to drink alcohol. Unless that's changed and your pathways change, that self-destroying thinking, will go back every time. You know the comfort blanket we had when we was a kid? That's my alcohol. You know the corner with the teddy bear that I ran every time I was scared? That was my alcohol. And to break that chain, you have to be really smart. You have to change the way you think. They call it a psychic change, psychic of the mind change. And unless you do that, and they talk about a spiritual awakening as well, knowing to find a God, something bigger than you, really helps an addiction. But, and these are my findings, and you'll find this on the internet somewhere on a white paper. Once we have a spiritual awakening, a psychic change, my DNA changed. Therefore, I'm not the same person as I was before. That is the cure for alcoholism. I'm not the same person.
Incredible. I mean, you're obviously in America now, and what's the difference between the UK and the US with this treatment right now and the systems? Are the US a lot further ahead than us in the UK, or?
I don't know, because, you know, most treatment centers over here, the success rate's about 2-3%, and it's the same in the UK. There's a bunch of us doing what I do, not to the extent that I do. Our success rate is about 97% over a 27-year period with 5,500 people that I've worked with. So it's not just like 2 years. It's a proper percentage rate.
And but what's that compared to the likes of the Priory, what we've all heard of, and these rehab centres where they go for a week or 2 weeks, or
4%? 4% of the treatment centre. Because if you think about it, if you really think about it, it's a business.
So let's
Why would you cure something?
4% to 92, yeah.
4%.
Yeah.
Versus, what's your success rate? Sorry,
97.
96, 97.
So how is it different then? Why? What are they doing that? You know, obviously you're doing something completely unique. What's the difference then?
Many treatment centres concentrate on the symptom, concentrate on the alcohol. Let's do classes on relapse prevention. Relapse ain't an option. So it's like it's like taking people in. Let's concentrate for the next 2 months in here on your failure. Well, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Plus, they're running a business. I don't care who it is. They're running a business, and if they cured everybody or not cured, if they got into a place where they never drank again, they would be out of business within a period of time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, rehabs and treatment centers, and I don't care saying this, guys, if you're listening from it, prove me wrong, they rely on repeat business. We don't. I've never taken anybody back. I'll give you your money back, and I'll give you one of my cards. You know, it's like I'm just so serious about this, and so passionate, and so knowledgeable. And I've also been there. I've been in the gutter. I've been educated. All these things. I've had my kids taken off me. You know, here's the miracles of how I live today. 20 odd years ago, they took my daughter off me, and the last thing my daughter said to me was, "Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking." That's the name of my book. Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Never seen her since. 9 months ago, she contacted me on Facebook. She's just had a baby. I went over there. We made up. I held my granddaughter. I've been over there 3 times since. That's the deal. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You just don't know when. If you're living the right life and you're helping other people and being an inspiration to other people, I can change somebody's mood in less than 30 seconds. It's just a gift that I've got. I don't know what it is. It just is. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. You see, I'm always going to dye my hair. I'm always going to wear crazy colored scrubs and clothes. I'm always going to wear sneakers that are stupid. I'm always going to drive crazy cars. I have a Mercedes McLaren. I'm always going to live in $1 million houses. I'm always going to be out there loud and proud. I don't care how old I am, because it's living life on nice terms.
I've seen the collection of your sneakers there.
No, right?
I like them.
Crazy. I have 64 pairs of training shoes.
It's quite interesting, yeah. You've see what you think to this, Rob. I mean, in our system, it's completely different to you. Obviously, this is probably a low level, but what we do with our guys in our mastermind is similar to you. You've got all these surface level solutions, diet plans, training plans, home workouts, you know, but what we do is go 10 times deeper below the surface level solutions to the root causes of the problems and identify them first, remove those destructive eating habits, behaviors to build that car to enter the race. And I guess that's kind of similar to what you're doing, obviously at a higher scale than what we do.
Well, I don't even know whether it's a higher scale, because that's one of the reasons why I came on. Is my assistant pointed that out, is that you're doing it on the exact same level as me, because you're going down to the causes and conditions. You see, I can diet as much as I want, like most of my life, and I can go to the gym. You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger used to do 20 minutes a day in the gym. 90% diet, 10% gym, he used to say. You know, but when you go down to another level, why after a period of time do I stop eating healthy? Self-sabotage. Why after a period of time do I stop going to the gym? Self-sabotage. Why? Causes and conditions of why I keep doing that. And it's a cycle. So when you say you go down there, but on the same level, I would beg to differ. I would say it's definitely on the same level. That's exactly what you're doing. And you cannot fail but to change lives. And everyone's going, wow, this James is like, you know, I don't know what he's doing different. You're going down to the causes and conditions.
It's generating sustainability, isn't it? It's building a car that you can actually enter the race and stay in the race instead of just entering the highway without a vehicle and get left behind. You know,
exactly. So, and the maintenance of that vehicle, the maintenance of keep putting that stuff in your head, repetition, strengthen and confirms, you know, until you go to the next level. And when I say thank you to somebody, my brain will secrete dopamine.
Nice.
I mean, that's a very little known fact, but it's true. So when I help somebody, I'm really helping myself. Living on that level, when you go back to the scene of the crime, causes a condition, you cleared that stuff up. You know, found out that your dad used to call you a fat pig, and it was all jokey back then. It was like, "What, you fat mess," and all that. And that my subconscious brain grabs hold of that and goes, "Oh yeah, that's a great reason to self-sabotage." And your dad calls you that for 4 or 5 years. You know, why would you think any different? You know, listen. So many years ago in England, a young lady, 17, 18, got kidnapped. She got taken off the side of the road, and they looked for her, and it was a big manhunt, and they couldn't find her. And about 6-7 months went past, and this driver going down the road, the police was following him, and he didn't use his turn signal or whatever, and they pulled him over for a spot check. Anyway, in the back of his car, they found out he had 3 stolen screwdrivers from the local DIY store. So in the UK, as you may or may not know, if you find stolen goods in the car, you can go back to the house and search it. When they got back to the house, they were searching it, and they seen like a coffin box in the corner, and they opened it, and there was the girl they were looking for. She was alive, and what he used to do is he used to take her every day, he used to rape her, and he used to feed her and water, and he put her back in the box, and he'd be doing that for 6 months. Do you know when they opened the box and they helped her out, what's the first thing she did? She got back in the box.
Conditioned.
Yeah. Exactly what you were saying, James, conditioning.
Yeah.
So when you say to me, I'm not on the same level as you, I beg to differ.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're creating.
I mean, when I said that, I mean, like, ours like destructive eating habits. Yours is, you know, addiction or higher, like life conditions, like life and death sort of thing. You know, so I think like there's a lot more. Obviously, there's a lot more. But yeah, I know what you mean there. I mean, I'd be interested to know, you've had serious revelations in your life to where you've got to, which is seriously inspiring. I mean, like, what advice would you give an 18-year-old Robb Kelly?
Don't be afraid to have a go at anything. Don't be afraid. Don't let fear stop you. As you get in your 20s and 30s, your fear will become bigger and bigger because you see the world for what it is. But go for it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't achieve stuff. And start off small. You know, I often tell people, you want to have a fantastic day and achieve today? Make your bed. What? Make your bed in the morning. It's a breakfast of champions, and it puts you up to sea. And put down reasonable milestones, but make sure the end goal is always crazy. Like, I want to be CEO of a big company in Manchester, let's say. Okay, let's set a plan out for the next 10 years to make sure that your milestone 100 or whatever it is taking an interview for that job. And again, going back to the science of it, you know, it's a case of walking up and taking the position. And when the sooner people realize it, the sooner you will succeed in life, and the sooner you be kind to other people and help as many people as you can, because that's what it's about for me. It's not about, you know, being in a big house and not really having anything to do with anybody, and I'm wealthy and you go away. I'm in the trenches every day. We make sandwiches and take it to the homeless downtown. You know, we will stop on the side of the road and give someone $1,000 who's homeless and begging. It's stuff like that you'll start doing once you're happy with your life, and you're not always searching, because that's what we're doing. We're always searching for the right thing to come. I saw a guy once, he come to me and he said, "Hey, Rob, do you remember this photograph?" And it was a photograph of me and him like 20 years ago. And he said, "You remember that, Rob?" And I went, "Oh, yeah." And he went, "God, Rob, those were the days, weren't they, Rob?" And I got thinking, I went, "Hey, what if today's one of those days?" And he looked at me and said, "No, let's make today count. Because in 20 years, when we look back and go, these were the days, we will know that today. And we will live that dream and that life today, because we'll know it in 20 years, but let's know it now." It's little stuff like that comes to me and go, oh my God, because I went to bed when I was 11 and I woke up when I was 50. Where did them years go? I don't know. Half of them were wasted on alcohol. Today, I live one day at a time, and it's nothing to do with alcohol, drugs, or anything. It's just, what can I cram into today to make somebody smile and make somebody's day? And as long as I keep doing that, I'm happy.
So what
time, yeah.
How has the current situation affected you in terms of business and obviously helping people?
Well, we do a lot of, 95% of our business is telehealth. So it's been really good for us. So, and we just expanded from just drug and alcohol to depression, and then building, a bit like life coaching, building someone's life better, making sure that you hit them goals, getting them in the gym, getting them that next job, getting them the next car. And there's just so much more to add than I just want to stop drinking, Rob. And it's like, I can guarantee you that. What else can we do with your life?
So there's a lot of this that you've explained in your book, isn't there?
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Because it's very interesting. What's it all about?
Well, the book is my life story, and basically it's an informational, but it's also the trip with my daughter. It's called Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. That's the last thing she said to me. So when she got in contact with me, I'd already started the book, and she obviously had a big part to play in it, so I dedicated to her. But it's basically, it's like an inspirational story of, hey, this is what happened to me. A, it can happen to you. And B, look at the ending, because the ending talks about me going back to England and meeting my daughter for the first time in 20 years, which was crazy, because I was supposed to go to a house, but she'd arranged with my wife. I didn't know that when we come out of the hotel room, she'd be stood in the car park there waiting for me. And I don't know, man, it's a story that everybody can relate to, just with life itself. It's like, if you strive and believe in yourself, and there's people around you who lift you and not drop you, then there's a good chance in life you're going to succeed. I once got told by a guy many years ago when I was in my teens, if you're earning 20 grand a year, Rob, and you want to earn 30, start hanging around with the guys that earn 30, and so on and so forth. Because I often hear, he's hanging around with the bad kids in school. Get him out of that. Who show me my friends and I'll show you my future. It's as simple as that. Hang around with the guys that are successful. Hang with guys that are kind, that are compassionate. The guys, you see, I've seen so many people talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? I'm nearly 60, guys, okay? I'm past my prime when it comes to physique and stuff. I know that. I'm happy with that. My wife will tell you, we get girls 24, 25 when I speak somewhere, will come up with their phone numbers. My assistant tries to block them off. Tell Dr. Rob I want to sleep with him and stuff like that. And I get phone numbers. Now, hey, I could do that. I could sneak away, some of my local, and isn't that good for my ego? Sleeping with a 25-year-old, oh my God, look at me. No, because if I do that, all this shit that I've created will go to shit. Because you've either got to walk the walk and talk the talk, or don't do anything at all. And part of my good living today is being an example to my fellow human being. And it's only because of the place I am today and the confidence I have in myself, and I've found my partner that I want to stay with the rest of my life, my wife, that I'm able to go, well, do you know something? I'm flattered, but I can't because I'm married. And that takes a lot of guts to do, man. I'm telling you, look like you guys, but I'm like, the first time it happened, I'm like, holy shit, really? But my wife slapped me across the face and like, you can if you want, but it's all
still
about
got it, mate. Still got it.
I've still got the money, that's what it is.
He's still single, Rob, so this is like a dream come true.
That's a choice, Jack. That's a choice. I've really enjoyed today. It's been very interesting getting to know your story.
So what's next for you then, Rob?
I want to now I'm nearly 60, so I want to create a legacy to leave behind. So my idea in the next 5 years is to build a treatment center in San Antonio for the people who can't afford treatment, and to take it to the next level where we have part treatment, part job experience, where they get you in jobs, part car loans, part house loans, all this stuff where you can go in as a broken man and come out as one of them successful guys. Because I don't know whether you've seen Trading Places. It's a great movie, but it's a homeless guy. You put any homeless guy in a position where it can succeed and be powerful, and he will. He will. James, the band, said it. If I hadn't seen so much riches, I could live with being poor. And I don't want people to be poor who've got this disease. I want people to thrive. So that's my legacy that I'm going to leave behind. And all I want when I go is to one or two guys to say, that Robb Kelly, he was a good guy. That's all I want.
Leave a legacy, make a difference. Love it. Powerful stuff, mate. I think that's one of my favourite interviews today, Joe. I don't know about you. I found it really enjoying.
Yeah, that was
100 miles per hour. Loved it. Fantastic.
Yeah, that was great fun.
Where can they go? Where can you guys find you? Yeah.
Yep. Where can we find you?
Okay, biggest thing, if you're around, just Google me. I spell my name with 2 B's, ROBBKELLY. So Robb Kelly or Dr. Robb Kelly. On Facebook, it's Dr. Robb Kelly. RobbKelly.com, ROBBKELLY.com is the website. You will, if you're listening or you're seeing and you've got a pen, 214-600-0210 is my personal cell. If you need to speak to me for anything, if you need a 30-second, 20-minute pep talk, it's not going to cost you anything, call me. If you're depressed and want to be lifted up on some inspiration, call me. It's not going to cost you anything. I'm here to help your viewers and your listeners. And if anything I can do to change your life, please, you'll be doing me the favor. I won't be doing it for you.
Got you. If they Google you, are they going to find a picture of you and Gordon Ramsay in your kitchen?
I would imagine so.
How do people find your book?
Same thing. Well, it's on Amazon. So go to Amazon and just type in either Dr. Robb or Daddy, Please Stop Drinking, and it'll come up. It's $14.99. All the profits from that book go back into the homeless. We actually buy stuff for other people. So we didn't do it for the money. So if you want to buy it, just nip on there, Amazon. Or go to the website. It's on the website with a link. Click the link straight into Amazon. It can be delivered the next day. It's an awesome book. I'm not saying that just because it's my book, because it doesn't make a difference if I sold 1 or 1 million. It really doesn't. A, I don't need the money, and B, I just want to tell my story. So if you're inspiration or you want to give it to somebody who suffers, because everybody knows somebody who suffers, buy the book and you won't regret it. If you do, contact me. I'll give you.
Love it. Powerful.
On that note, Rob, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, Rob.
Amazing.
Top man. Guys, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
See you soon. Bye.